Alright guys, I am going to do a review of the new Mythic Tarot, and it's going to be an unboxing. I guess that's what you all call it. So these are going to be, oh, and these cards are illustrated by Giovanni Caselli. So these cards are not cards that I usually would go for. Oh, and Juliet, Sherman-Burke, and Liz Greene. Let me make sure I give credit where credit's due. I hope I did that on the other review. But yeah, I usually don't go for cards with these type of like more whimsical or classic looking illustrations. But the reason why this stuck out to me is because it has to do with Greek mythology, and I was like, what is a cooler way to learn more about Greek mythology than to, I don't know if I did both of these sides, than to learn through tarot. Plus, I've learned there's a lot of different correlations between Greek mythology and astrology and just a lot of different things. So I thought it would be really neat. And it comes with a book as well, so I'll read the back of this in a second. Literally, I'm just like unwrapping it. I have not even unwrapped it at all. If you watched my last review of the, what is it called? Deviant Moon Tarot by Patrick Valenza. The lady that I actually got these from is the same lady. So I got this in the same time. So I shared a story about that. And I'm not the best storyteller, but yeah. So here, I'll read what the back of this says. It says the Mythic Tarot was first published in 1989 and has been an international success with tarot readers ever since. This card illustrations depict the gods and goddesses, heroes and heroines of the Greek myths. Sorry if I said that wrong. Familiar archetypal characters whose experiences perfectly mirror the shifts and patterns of our lives today. For this new edition, the entire deck has been re-illustrated by Giovanni Caselli, an artist with a passion for the classical world, its literature, symbols, and myths. The new Mythic Tarot book explains everything you need to know to become an accomplished tarot reader. The new cards are stunning and breathe fresh life into the classic deck. With images rich in the psychological insight, the mythical legends they depict provide wisdom and guidance for seekers of personal growth. So we'll go ahead and just get right into it. This is messing me up that it's kind of, it's like they put the box on backwards or something. I don't know if that's just me, but. All right, so here we have, ooh, that's a big book. So when they say it's in depth, they mean it's in depth. So we'll probably grab a couple out here later and kind of see how that book goes. So this is how the cards are sitting in here. Look cute, looks cute, looks cute. Don't mind this, by the way. I literally just saged my cards, and of course I made a mess today. So I'm gonna open these. I think they look cute. They look like a good size in comparison to my other decks. Let's see. They feel good. It's like the traditional Rider-Waite. It's about the same size as the traditional Rider-Waite here. Let's see. Yep. Yeah. So if you like the feel of the Rider-Waite deck, it's the exact same size, and it's a good thickness. It's not too paper. Like, I haven't personally had any very thin decks, but I've heard of them. So it's not like that at all. So I'll briefly go through the cards so you can get a look at them. And while I do that, let me see if there's anything that sticks out to me. We'll kind of go through the contents of the book while I'm doing this. So you'll get an introduction of the origins of the tarot cards and the Mythic Tarot. It will go through each major arcana, the minor arcana, reading the cards, then conclusion, notes on your reading, so pages where you can put notes, further reading, and acknowledgments. So it's interesting, and I'll have to look in the deck, but it's saying like for the minor arcana, when it's going through the contents, it says the 4 suits, and then as far as the pages, it has like the suit of cups, and then it says the numbered cards, the suit of wands, the numbered cards. So I'm interested in why it's like if it, I don't know. I'm interested in seeing. It probably just goes through. It looks like, as a matter of fact, it looks like it goes through a brief description of the suit of cups, probably, and we'll look, and then it goes into the. Sorry if some of these stick. So if you don't see all of them, that's why. So it goes over like a description of the suit of wands, and then goes in depth with each number. We'll have to check that out. And then when it goes into the reading of the cards, it says what the tarot can and cannot do, making a relationship with the cards, laying out a spread, reading the Celtic cross spread, and reading the planetary spread. So, I feel like a lot of the decks that I've seen, they usually have like examples of spreads and stuff too, but this seems like it's going to be pretty in-depth. See if there's any other contest. Nope, it just goes into the introduction. So what I'm probably going to do, like I did last time, is just kind of shuffle up the cards and see what pops up, and then find them in the book and see what it says, is my plan. But first, after this, I'll go through the book. Sorry, usually I like to say, hey, what I'm doing, but I'm kind of winging it because I honestly don't have that much time to do this. So these are going to have to get broken. They're nice and sturdy. Okay. So the major arcana, page 14. So it goes over the major arcana, has all the images. More about the major arcana. And then you'll have, wow, when it says in depth, it's not even joking. So you have the Fool, and we'll go more in depth when I get the examples. The Magician. So yeah, these are very in-depth descriptions. On an inner level, on a divinatory level, it breaks it down. Interesting. So then we'll go to the minor arcana, 89. This will be interesting. I never personally, because I don't buy like just the tarot books. No, I might have a regular tarot book, but I haven't looked at it for a while. This looks pretty in-depth. So the minor arcana, the 4 suits. And then it shows all the suits of the cup. So this must be that page. So it just shows you the images of all the suits. And then the numbered cards. And now we'll go through each page that shows a description. Again, it looks like it just is showing here on a divinatory level, or divinatory. Am I saying that right? So yep, we'll go through each cup. Okay. And then reading the cards, 229. So what the tarot can and cannot do. Yep, so just as I read when I was going through the contents, gives you an example of the Celtic cross spread and the description of each position. So for example, in the position 1 is sometimes called the covering card or the significator. We will use this term significator because the card which has been chosen for this position will reflect the situation, inner and outer, in which the individual finds himself or herself at the present moment. And then it gives an example of the reading. So position 1, the Tower appears as a significator, suggesting that a collapse of an existing circumstance was hitting Beth hard. It goes more in detail. So it's nice that they have that. And they actually have the card spread example here, if you want to refer to that while you're looking at the example. And they give another 2 examples. And they have the reading of a planetary spread. Again, an image here, which is nice. I bet they have an example. They sure do. You got an example reading here. which I've never done a planetary spread. Oh, nice. So then we have a conclusion. So I'll just read the conclusion here at the very bottom. It says, and I like, this looks very easy to read and navigate through how it's spread out. I just want to say that right now. I do like that. It says, and the end of all our exploring will be arrived where we started and know the place for the first time. Interesting. Oh, it says what? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to read this all over again to give some context here. It says, we can find no better way to close our description of the fool's journey than with these lines from the great poet T.S. Eliot. And the end of all our exploring, we will be arrived where we started and know the place for the first time. So here for the notes, the reading, this is really nice. It says the date, reading for, situations, spread use, card positions, overall analysis. So I think this is cool. I think I personally, because I'm so weird, even with like my student books, like I don't know if anyone else is like this, I do not like to write my books, even if it gives space to do it. I don't know why, regardless, I don't like to do it, but it's nice to have this layout. So if you wanted to make this for yourself and keep track of it, I think that's cool. But it looks like there's a few pages here to get you started if you wanted to use it. And then it gives further readings if you want to learn more, which is really always nice to have, like for me, because sometimes I'm like, I don't know which book to get. So to have somebody that you know, if you do enjoy their book, to have their referral to something else to learn more, I think that's awesome. So that's really cool. And then acknowledgements. So I think that is pretty neat. So what we're going to do, I'm not going to do nothing fancy with the deck to shuffle it because we're not doing a reading. So we'll just have probably 5 cards, let's say, pop out. And as long as we get at least one minor arcana, one major arcana, I think that will be cool. And we'll check out and get an idea what the book has. Okay, yeah, see, these weren't shuffled that well. Okay, let me shuffle it because we're not doing that. I don't want to do all swords. Let's see. But yeah, overall, that seems pretty neat. I'm excited. I almost feel like because there's a lot there to read, maybe I should just do like one minor arcana and one major arcana, but we'll see what comes out. Because I would like to get a good feel of what's in there, but I also don't want to talk your ear out and you guys get bored. I don't want this video too long. So I like that they're purple too. Purple's like my favorite color. King of Pentacles. We'll take the 4 of Cups. And then I'm just going to pick out the first major arcana I see because I know you guys don't want to see me shuffle all day. Death card, why not? Okay. So, King of Pentacles. Go back to the contents because there's a lot of pages and it will just be easier that way. Let's see. Pentacles, 94. All right, got it. So for the King of Pentacles, the card of the King of Pentacles portrays a swarthy man with dark brown hair and beard, solidly built and obviously contented with his powerful worldly position. He is seated on a golden throne, which has arms adorned with heads of goats. Behind him rises a fortified castle built of stone and draped with vines. Among the columns of the castle, his menials in attendance stand ready to serve him. In his hands he holds one golden pentacle, while beneath his feet lies a heap of golden coins, tiny pentacles, his accumulation of worldly wealth. He is richly but tastefully robed in gold brocade and wears a golden crown. On the grass beside him, a brown goat grazes. So there's a description of the images. Yeah, see, this is a lot to read. Let me see. So we have, here in the card of the King of Pentacles, we meet the active, dynamic dimensions of the 5th of the element of earth. This is embodied by the mythic king Midas. So that name might sound familiar. A pleasure-loving king of I'm going to say this wrong, Macedonia. In his infancy, a procession of ants was observed carrying grains of wheat up the side of his cradle and placing them between his lips as he slept, a prodigy which the soothsayers read as an omen of great wealth that would accrue to him. Midas ruled as a wise and poised king, and his kindness to the drunken Saturnilos, tutor of the god Dionysos, earned him the gratitude of the unpredictable god. I'm not going to say these names right. Dionysos offered a grant Midas one wish, to which Midas replied without hesitation, "Pray grant that all I touch be turned into gold." The king soon regretted his decision, for not only stones, flowers, and the furnishings of his house turned to gold, but when he sat down to his table, so did the food he ate and the water he drank. Midas soon begged to be released from his wish because he was rapidly dying of hunger and thirst. I'm just going to call him Dion. Dion, highly entertained but compassionate, told him to visit the source of the river Pactolus, where Midas washed himself and was at once freed from the golden touch. But the sands of the river Pactolus are bright with gold to this day. So yeah, it's going to go more in depth to his story. Like, it's, when I say it's in depth, it's in depth. So when you see the King of Pentacles appearing in a spread, so it goes into a very deep story about the character. So if you're trying to learn about Greek mythology, it will go into that extremely in depth of their story, which I think is really cool in the purpose of me buying this. And then if you go past that, then it will give you a description as far as what the card actually means. So when the King of Pentacles appears in a spread, it is time for the individual to take up the challenge of worldly things. But inner movements often need a catalyst, and therefore the King of Pentacles may enter one's life as an earthy, strong, successful individual, one who has the Midas touch. So if you didn't know who Midas was, that might ring a bell. People have said that, I'm sure, plenty. Who has the gift of manifesting creative ideas in the world. But such an individual is a catalyst for one's own developing material self-confidence. So we'll go, let's see, we'll just do for the Four of Cups, just the description, and then Death, I'll see who it's talking about. So again, the Four of Cups has the description of like the image on the card. And we'll, yeah, it goes into a lot of descriptions here. And then for when you're, it says on a divinatory level, the Four of Cups augurs a time of dissatisfaction, boredom, and depression within a relationship. There is feeling of being let down or cheated, although one who does the cheating is usually oneself because of one's unreal expectations. This dissatisfaction can lead to long-standing, unexpressed resentment, or it can lead to looking more deeply at relationship, a harder path because previous assumptions and fantasies will then be challenged. So there's that. And then we'll go to the Death card. Bear with me, guys. We're almost there. I'm just flipping through it at this point. We're going to find it. There we go. The Death card. Again, it goes to the image. It looks like these are more descriptive because these will have like little notes on the side as well. So like an example for this one, it says the rising sun suggests a new future, although the souls who kneel before Hades are still unaware of it. It says the child who offers the flowers is an image of the childlike trust in change, which can help us deal with the process of mourning. Only the child is unafraid of expressing grief. And then the river Styx, which means hated, was envisaged. Lord, my vocabulary needs to be extended quite a bit as a leaden and forbidding river because it represents a stage we must pass through in order to reach the riches of the underworld. This is the state of sadness and mourning, which are necessary to life as joy and celebration. So as that expressed, if we were to read into this, this would go more into Hades, that script description, if you can remember us talking about Midas when we went through his. So we have, again, a description of the images, more in-depth description of the images, and then into Hades and his story, and then it will go into an inner level. And let's just read the on a divinatory level for time's sake. The card of death implies that something must come to an end. Whether or not this experience is painful depends on the person's capacity to accept and recognize the necessity of endings. The card of death can augur an opportunity for a new life if one can let go of the old one. Thus, the fool enters the underworld, leaving behind his previous life to prepare for an unknown future. So yeah, I'm excited about this deck. Like I said, images personally not my thing, but sometimes, I mean, as long as it's very thought out. You can tell it's really thought out because of all the deep descriptions in the book. So that is a good sign for me. So despite, I feel like no matter what, I'll be able to connect with the images on the cards, which I think is one of the most important things when you're choosing a deck, is if you can connect with them. Plus, I'm really excited to learn more about Greek mythology. So I think for anybody that would want to, I think this would be